I would like to spend a few moments this afternoon to shed some light and to speak about the issue of postpartum depression. Now, as a physician yourself, you are clearly aware of the reality that many new young mothers face when they deal with issues relating to postpartum depression. But I think what is perhaps unknown is what the relevance, really the incidence of postpartum depression here in the United States, and the fact that here in this country, 1 in 7 mothers nationwide will suffer from postpartum depression. In my state of Alaska, the numbers are even more troubling. We are twice the national average in 1 in 3. 1 in 3 new mothers in the state of Alaska who will deal with the difficulty of postpartum depression. So about a month ago, it's been a little bit more than that by now, I sat down with a local Anchorage reporter who was building out a series to look at the impacts of postpartum depression. We just call it PPD. So she put together a 4-part series, a televised series, that focused on 7 very strong, very passionate women from the Anchorage community who came forward to share their stories. And it was an interesting interview because the reporter wanted to ask me about some legislation that I have been involved with here in the Senate, but it gave me an opportunity to reflect back on the time when I was a mom, a new mother with a beautiful, handsome little boy, and the responsibilities of being a mom literally overnight. Coming from a family of 6, you figure you know how to deal with children, but until you walk out of that hospital and you have that responsibility, it is not something that you come prepared for or with a guidebook to. It's kind of trial by error every day. And I recall the reality of the responsibilities that I faced as a new mother. I recall some of the angst and concern that I had about whether or not I was doing things right. And here I was supposed to be happy and joyous and excited about this beautiful bundle of baby boy that I had, and instead I was tired and fatigued and stressed. I was stressed. Was I doing everything right? I wasn't sure. And while I did not deal or suffer the anxiety that comes with postpartum depression, as a new mother filled with just my own level of concern, I did feel that those symptoms that I think many women feel and share, and yet you don't want to talk about it because you're supposed to be excited and happy and not in a state that is described as anything less than joyful. And so I think, unfortunately, many women don't share their concerns, don't express their feelings, instead deal with it, and sometimes deal with it in ways that can be tragic. So I have been inspired. I have been very encouraged by the stories that I have shared with and heard from women and other advocates that are fighting to raise awareness of the issue of PPD. And so today, I wanted to share the story of one woman who lost her daughter to postpartum depression. And I met this woman shortly after I had filmed this interview. She works in Anchorage as well as Wasilla as a child and adolescent psychiatrist. She has been absolutely passionate about providing care and support to children and adolescents in an effort to reduce and prevent suicide. So this is her life's work. And she began to advocate for PPD after her own daughter, Brittany, suffered and ultimately lost her life to PPD. Brittany was 25 years old. Brittany was a beautiful, passionate, lively, bright young woman. She was born close to here in Fairfax, Virginia in 1989. She excelled in school. She graduated with an international baccalaureate degree at age 16 from Mount Vernon High School. She loved animals. She dreamt of being a sports veterinarian one day. She continued to excel academically while taking pre-veterinarian courses through the University of Pittsburgh and later online through North Carolina State University. But one of her big goals was to race in the Iditarod, one of my favorite sporting events, certainly my favorite Alaskan event. She she raced, and she showed several Siberian Huskies, but she worked as a dog handler for Karen Ramstad. She was part of Karen's preparation for the Iditarod. So she was into her dogs. She was into really her life. But as much as she loved the Iditarod, as much as she loved what she was doing, she considered motherhood to be her greatest achievement. But sadly, very sadly, she began to struggle with PPD after a complicated delivery that resulted in her newborn son spending a week in the neonatal intensive care unit. And she dealt with some very powerful emotions, some very violent emotions. She sought treatment from her physicians for her PPD, but she was in a situation where her cries were unanswered because she was dealing with physicians who were unable or perhaps ill-equipped to help her. It was about the time of her son's first birthday when Brittany lost her battle with PPD. And as sad and as tragic as that was for all in Brittany's family, it was another woman outside the family, another woman musher, who really moved forward in working for and advocating for Brittany. It was Dee Dee Johnroe who raced the Iditarod in Brittany's honor. She took forward that cause, that crusade. But again, Brittany was a bright, motivated, loving young woman who was struck down early in life because she didn't have access to the treatment that she needed. And unfortunately, her story is just one of many. PPD impacts women of every race, every income, and on all backgrounds. And again, all too often, women who have PPD feel helpless. They feel overwhelmed. They're certainly confused. They feel like, I haven't done something right. I haven't properly bonded with my baby, or I'm not I'm ill-prepared. I'm ill-equipped for parenthood. I just can't understand or figure out what may have gone wrong. And again, the assumption out there is you have this beautiful baby, you should be joyful. Why aren't you? And so, because that expectation is different than what you're feeling, there is a hesitation to bring it up. There is a hesitation to speak about it. But again, I will repeat our statistics. Across the country, 1 in 7 mothers will suffer from PPD, and in Alaska, 1 in 3 women, twice the national average. Now, there are some nonprofit organizations that are seeking to raise awareness and to help women connect with treatment for PPD, but often they're located in the populous areas of the state. But Think about my state, which is so extraordinarily rural, where most of our communities are not connected by roads. What about the women who are unable to receive proper screening, diagnosis, or treatment early on? So raising awareness of this issue is something that we are trying to do. And that's why I've been supporting legislation like the Bringing Postpartum Depression Out of the Shadows Act. I want to thank the occupant of the chair here, Senator Cassidy, along with Senators Alexander, Murray, and Murphy, for including PPD in the Mental Health Reform Act. I've co-sponsored both pieces of legislation because I think what we need to do is to do more to ensure that we are ensuring proper screening and treatment for PPD. I want to support the efforts to improve culturally competent programs that will help educate physicians, especially our primary care providers, on the proper detection and the treatment. And we recognize that this will not only benefit the women who are suffering, but also improve the health and the well-being of their children and really their families as a whole. With so many moms across my state, across the nation, who are facing postpartum depression, I think it's important, it's worthwhile that we do what we can to raise the issue, raise the awareness, put it at the forefront, openly discuss it, educate, and help improve our understanding of this illness. So, Mr. President, I thank you for the opportunity to raise this issue before the body today, and with that, I yield the floor.